Welcome to the West Dakota Dad. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have the time and are able to do so, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, rating, review, whatever it is. It really helps me out to reach out to more and more people. And of course, I'd be very much so grateful for that. With that being said, today we have a great episode. We're going to be talking about a very special day that has recently happened, known as my anniversary. But before we get into that, I have a very exciting announcement to make in the form of my very first sponsored episode. Check out the video. Hey guys, West Dakota Dad here doing a dad product review for you. I received this tactical style diaper bag from my friends at Swanky Beaver. They are a New Zealand based company that have designed this tactical style rugged diaper bag for your adventurous lifestyle. How many times have you gone to a major retail store looking for a diaper bag and all they have are bags that are modeled after the child or the mother in mind? Well, Swanky Beaver wanted to get dads equally excited, or just people that have an adventurous lifestyle excited about childcare. For more details, go to swankybeaver.com. That's SWANKY beaver.com. So my wife and I, we just celebrated our 4-year wedding anniversary, and there's not a day, a week, a month, a year that goes by that I am just not super thankful for this hardworking, caring, selfless, and loving wife and mother of our child that the Lord has given to me. I cannot describe how much it is an honor that she's with me and that she can call me her trophy husband. Love you, babe. I'm not going to sit here and bore you with a love story of how much I love my wife and everything, which I kind of want to, and it kind of is going to be like that, but I'm going to take the route of how I knew she was the one, how I knew when to propose, and how my proposal went, because it's kind of a funny story. And I think I might have shared a little bit about this in previous episodes, but it's my anniversary, so I'm going to do it again. So for starters, how do you know when you found the right one? Well, I've told you how many times I struck out with females in the past because I tried to be the person that I thought they wanted me to be and everything. Well, God had a plan. He told me that you just need to be yourself, and I'm going to put the right woman in front of you when you least expect it. You remember those sayings? Oh, it's going to happen when you least expect it. Oh, that's like nails on a chalkboard. But it was kind of like that. So, I was myself for the first time with my wife. That wasn't trying to, be the romantic comedy guy that you see all these chick flicks. I was just going to be Cody. And she saw more in me than I saw myself at that time. And so here we are 4 years later. So I guess you could say it all worked out pretty well. But, I didn't know when. I knew that this is the girl I was going to want to marry, but I didn't know when to propose, or how do you know if she wants you to propose? Well, my wife made it pretty easy. She dropped some pretty subtle hints. We were at her mom's house one time, and I remember I was probably watching TV or something. They were on their phones, and I was hearing words like, I like this one, and ring, and I don't like that one so much. Or, this one's pretty nice, but that's really expensive. And then they showed me. So, pretty subtle hints, but I think I got it. And, so the next thing I knew is I needed to go ring shopping. Well, I couldn't remember what she liked, but I do remember that she told me that she really liked her sister-in-law's ring because she helped her brother pick it out. And I thought, okay, well, somehow I'm going to have to get a picture of her sister-in-law's ring, but they live in Moorhead, Minnesota. Well, the perfect opportunity arose. There was this concert going on by a small town band, I believe, known as Garth Brooks. Might have heard of them or something. But we were going to go to that with my brother and sister-in-law. And I was like, oh, this should be a good opportunity. But somehow I'm still going to have to see what her ring looks like, so I have at least an idea of what to shop for. Well, like I said, this was back in my wild and crazy years, and I was heavily under the influence of Twisted Tea and Busch Light. And probably shouldn't have been in public because, well, for layman's terms, I was intoxicated. And somehow, I remember all this plain as day. Like I said, wild and crazy years. they don't really happen ever anymore. But Trisha Yearwood came out on stage, and I remember hearing, "Oh my gosh, look at the rock on that hand." And I was like, somehow I managed to be able to put this together. I said, "Oh my gosh, I would never be able to afford something like that." Cue sister-in-law. "You don't have to. See, look what Trevor got me, and I love it." And I said, "Really? Let me get a good look at that thing." So I looked at it and everything, and I was like, okay, I have an idea. And somehow I remembered exactly what it looked like, and so I was able to go shopping for a ring. Then I didn't know, how much do you spend on a ring? You know, you hear the age-old saying, oh, at least 1 month's income, or 2 or 3 months' income, or 1 year income, or 10 years' income. Okay, I don't think it goes on that far. But you hear those sayings, right? Well, I do recall listening to a very wise person, and they told me that the more expensive the ring is does not guarantee a successful and happy marriage. You need to buy something you can afford. And I thought, oh, that is excellent advice. And so I had saved up, I had budgeted. I was like, okay, this is my price range here. Let's see if I can find something there. And so I was looking around. I looked at a couple different places. I finally found one that was similar to the one my wife had really liked. But I also didn't want to get something that was exactly the same, because that would just be odd. And I also wanted to have a little bit of customization to it. So I had left room in the budget. I said, okay, I want this to be personalized. And so the jeweler mentioned, well, what about a Gypsy Set? And so I said, what's that? And well, they can put these stones on the side, that is on the side of the band there, and they line up once they're together, and you can choose whatever stone you want. And I said, oh, that's pretty cool. So I decided to choose, I don't remember what the stone was called, but these 2 pink stones, and it was October's birthstone. And I thought, okay, well, that'll work. So I got these stones, and the reason why October, I should mention, was that was the month that my wife and I had met. So I was like, okay, cool. This has a lot of meaning to it. So I got these 2 stones in, and I was like, okay, I now have the ring. Time to set up when I'm going to propose to her. I knew I wanted to propose to her under a waterfall, and I had got some more subtle hints that I should never propose to her on a Jumbotron at a sporting event, which I thought would be the ultimate proposal. No. She told me flat out she would say no, so I knew that. So we were going to plan this trip down to the Black Hills on her birthday. She had no idea that I was going to propose to her. And I knew that was when I'm getting all mixed up here. Not mixed up, just ahead of myself. So we were going to go down to the Black Hills. I had lined up my friend's dad, who is a photographer. He'd done all of our sports photography for high school and everything, and I asked him if he could try to capture the moment. I told him, she will not want me to propose in front of other people, so if there's other people, we're going to have to kind of wait. And he said, okay, where do you want to get married, or where do you want to propose at? And I said, at Spearfish Falls. He's like, great, I have no idea where that's at, but I do know the location where you park at. And I said, okay, we'll meet there, we'll pretend like we don't know each other, and you can just follow us down to the waterfall. And he's like, perfect. I was like, okay. Now, side note, I did not know this about my wife at the time. Her and her mom watched a lot of Dateline, so she is already an observant person, but she's also seen 100 different scenarios of how people die on Dateline. So she's cautious when things get a little fishy of what's going on around her. So okay, now rewinding here, back to the night before we went down to the hills. This commercial came on. It was a Cricket Wireless commercial, and in a nutshell, it was about a proposal, and she said something along the lines of, oh, that would be nice. I'm thinking like, oh geez, another subtle hint. She knows. She knows that I bought a ring. She knows that I'm going to propose to her this week. Darn it. But I just brushed it off. I was like, oh yeah, I bet it would. And then we get down to the Black Hills, we get to the cabin, and she wants to take a nap. And I said, okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to go call my dad to let him know we made it. She said, okay. I called my photographer, actually. It said, okay, we'll be at the falls in about a half hour. And he said, okay, I'm on my way. I go back inside and I said, you know what? We should really go to the waterfall. And she said, what do I get out of the thing? A diamond ring? And I almost slipped. And I said, how do you know these things? But instead I just kept my cool and I said, oh, come on. It's, just change the subject. It'll be fun. It's nice out. Let's just go down there for a nice refreshing hike. Okay, fine. So we get down there and this whole time I think she knows. Well, we meet my friend in the parking lot and he's wearing a South Dakota State shirt. And he comes up to us and he's like, hey, are you local? And I said, how's it going? So my wife's like, what's going on here? And so he's like, I'm looking for the waterfall. Do you know where it's at? And, we can't keep a straight face. We're grinning and everything. And I said, well, there's two. There's one up that way called Rough Rock Falls. There's one down here called Spearfish Falls. He's like, I think I'll go to this one. It seems closer. And I said, yeah, you can just follow us. He's like, okay. So he's taking pictures of us and everything, and she's like, oh, this is kind of weird. I was like, don't worry about it. This is a photographer's hotspot. People from all over come here to take pictures. And she's like, okay, fine. Well, we kind of just made small talk as we were going down there, and, I'm still struggling to keep a straight face and pretending not to know him. Well, we get down there, and there's people down there. Well, he remembered what I said before about people being there and when I'd propose. So he actually knew them, and he went over there and asked if they could just kind of wander off just for a little bit until I proposed. Well, she had saw him go over there and whispered to them, and they left. Now she's getting a little freaked out. And she's like, I don't like this guy. He's creeping me out. He just told those people to leave. I was like, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it and everything. She's like, no, I'm worried about it. Well, then she said she saw him looking at us while he was taking a picture of the waterfall, which, photographers look through their lens when they're taking a picture. So she's really freaked out. And she's like, we need to go now. This guy's going to kill us. And I said, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. So I'm like, okay, I need to do this now. Otherwise, it's going to be a no-go. So I kind of looked back at him while she was looking away. He kind of gave me one of these to get positioned right for the lighting and whatnot. And she's like, Cody, we need to go. And I just got down on a knee. I said what I needed to say. Asked, will you marry me? She started crying because she thought her life was over. She was happy, not because her life was over because she was going to marry me, but because she thought this guy was going to kill us. And then after she said yes, I put the ring on her finger. I kissed her and I said, oh, by the way, that's Tim. I know him. Oh my gosh, this relief went over her face and she cried a little bit more and she laughed and he laughed and it was pretty great. Yeah. So, little word of advice, kind of know your wife or know the gal that you want to propose to and maybe get some subtle hints of what kind of proposal she likes and how to not be completely obvious or think she's going to get murdered. But I think it's a pretty funny story. So I thought I'd share it with you. Again, 4 years later, here we are celebrating our 4th anniversary and life is good. I got a verse for you guys today from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, a very, very common verse done at weddings, starting with verse 4. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in truth. It bears all things, it believes all things, it hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never ends. So, there you guys have it. I hope you guys had a great week. I know I did. I just got off vacation. Next week I'll talk to you a little bit more about how my vacation went. But until next time, I'm the West Dakota Dad. Thanks for listening.